You are listening to the Real Estate Influencer Podcast. Welcome to the Real Estate Influencer Podcast. I'm glad you're here. This podcast is for real estate marketers, educators, speakers, coaches, product creators, software developers, group leaders, authors, and entrepreneurs. And boy, guys, we are in for a treat today. I'm here with a good friend of mine. His name is Patch Baker. Some of you might know him, maybe some of you don't, but we are in for a treat today because today we're going to be talking about, well, let me just give you a little background on Patch, right? Patch is the guy that I go to when I need to know what's going on with Facebook, right? When I'm launching new campaigns, I need to know what's changed, what's coming up, the best way to monetize a product that I've got. I go to Patch. When I need to know what's going on with YouTube or with PPC or anything digital marketing related, he is my guy. He's my go-to guy. He's my digital marketing guru, right? But as I've come to know him more and more, what he's really become for me is really a coach in business development, how to take what I've got and leverage it further, how to start new businesses, how to acquire businesses, and maybe most importantly, how to exit businesses. So I'm really excited that he's here today. We've barely even talked about what he's going to share other than he knows the space that we're in, the REI education space, and he's worked with a lot of people in our space, but also a lot of people outside of our space, and we'll bring a lot of that knowledge to the table as well. So let me make sure he's here. Patch, can you hear us, buddy?
I can, man. Thank you for that intro. I don't know how I'm going to try to live up to that for you.
Well, I haven't even really bragged on you yet, man. So, Patch is also a military veteran, and so we thank him for his service. Owns 36 businesses, is just really, just an absolute authority on scaling business up. So I can't build him up enough because he really has a wealth of knowledge. And Patch, if you're good with it, man, I just like to throw a couple subjects out because I run masterminds. You're part of the family mastermind. We're glad to have you as a member there. I run Facebook groups of influencers, and I see a lot of topics that are getting discussed, a lot of the kind of the hot things that people are talking about right now. So if it's good with you, I'm just going to throw some stuff out and tell us, what you know about it. I know a lot of this stuff is stuff you work on. So first thing is 30-day deal challenges. Okay, we're seeing a lot of those on Facebook. If you guys are on Facebook a lot, you're seeing 30-day deal challenges in lots of different niches. We've had success with some of our members that have done 30-day deal challenges for software companies, for coaching offers. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know you've been involved in launching those. You've done those successfully yourself, and you've also worked with some of the people that have launched some of the biggest and most successful ones here recently. So talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, so that's a really hot button right now in the world of social and in the world of people that maybe had a business that before was only an in-person business, and then now they have to change in order to maintain business. So even like attorneys and CPAs and real estate agents and big time investment guys or even developers, which is crazy. They used to do everything in person, and they've come to us saying, hey, how do we change this? Or they've come to, other agencies that I'm associated with. And a lot of them have decided to do challenges, and challenges are a neat way to do two things. One, lead people into what will eventually become your funnel. It's an easy way to get people that don't know you or maybe know who you are, but have never really interacted with you. It's an easy way for them to kind of understand your chops in one area, but it's the extension of a webinar. If you think about it at its core, everybody knows what a webinar is. You go there, you give it to them for free, and then somewhere along the line, you try to take them up your ascension ladder by selling them something on the end or introing your software or, whatever your course or whatever that is. And there's really two ways to do the challenge model. You have the free version, and then you have the low dollar offer, short course or short challenge that maybe ends up a longer challenge. So an example of that would be Roland Frazier and I did one where we basically, well, let me preface it with this. It's such a big deal that Facebook actually is trying to figure out how to do paid online courses as part of the platform, which that shows you how big of a deal it is, because there's so many challenges doing so much money that Facebook said, this is a big enough section of our total audience that we're going to design something as a platform modification, which is millions and millions and millions in development work for them. So that's how.
And they're developing more. I've seen more and more of that popping up on Facebook, and I've read more articles about more and more business type tools, commerce type tools like that, trying to replace maybe some other tools we're already using. I mean, they're just going to keep doing it. But one, you're talking about one specifically for the challenge type offer.
Yeah. So Roland and I did the first ever and then the second ever paid online course on Facebook, which means you could sign up for an event, you could put in your credit card, and then you could get we did it live, a challenge. And that event was a paid event paid through Facebook. Now, Facebook made a really cool thing also, because when you collect the dollars in, you can use that money for ads, or you can request it as a check. So that's pretty cool. They're trying to figure out a way that they could get a evergreen event that you could set up and run, and people would go through it based off the launch dates that you give it. And it could, the dollars coming in could then pay for it to be run again and again and again and again from an ads standpoint. So that's really cool. There's not another platform that I know that does anything like that, even remotely close. But that's pretty cool.
Let me ask you too, in relation to the 30-day deal challenge, talk about, the buyer psychology there. Like, why are people having success? And I understand if it's not a good product, it's not a good pitch. It doesn't matter if it's a challenge or not a challenge, it's not going to work, right? But what makes that format work? Is it the concise length of it? Is it is there something else about it? Is that it creates the sense of community? Or, what have you noticed with the ones you've run successfully? And I know you're a student of everybody that is successful online. I know you're following a lot of other challenges too. What makes those successful? Why that format?
So the two things that I think make it uniquely successful is, one, people are at home and bored, and they have time on their hands that they never had before.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a bandwidth issue is one of them. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then the other thing is, there are a lot of people for, economic reasons that are trying to make a lateral move or a progressive move away from what they used to do. So for example, if they were in the restaurant business and the restaurant business got shut down, they're trying to come up with something new that they don't have to go through this challenge again if something happens to their industry. And that is kind of a double-edged sword when you think about it, because what if this was not a people-to-people virus, but it was a computer-to-computer virus, right? We'd be in the exact opposite situation. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic there. But the cool thing about that is that there are a lot of people that are trying to change and morph into something new, and maybe even taking steps that they wanted to do years ago, but they just didn't have the bandwidth back then because of all the in-person meetings and conferences and all the stuff that they were traveling for. Now all that time is back, and they're like, man, I really want to launch that course. Mm-hmm. Well, the intro to a course typically is either a webinar, but more, over the last 4 to 5 months, it's been, I'll get them to come in on a challenge, and then from that challenge, I'll teach them so much that I'll get them to take the course where I expand on everything that we learned in this challenge. Yeah. And the ones that I've seen to be the most successful are the ones that are 3 to 5 day challenges that are, it's you make them drink from a fire hose at such a rapid pace that they feel that they've gotten so much value that even if they pause it and they take down notes and they do everything, there's no way for them to actually put that into action. And the saving grace is that after 3 or 5 days of just punching them with knowledge over and over and over and over in very short, concise hour to an hour and a half. That seems to be a thing, at least an hour long, so that they feel like they got enough time for value, and no longer than an hour and a half, because it's still hard for them to schedule longer than an hour and a half. But that's where it starts falling off.
Yeah.
So an hour to hour and a half content, 3 to 5 days, you hit them, excuse me, with so much information that the saving grace is in that last day, you talk about, look, if you want to learn more of this stuff, or you don't understand how to actually get all of the knowledge that you just learned in sequential order, I have another thing, whatever that thing is. Could be a 30-day challenge, could be a 6-week course, could be whatever. We have this product for you, and we're going to lay out every single step by step of everything that you learned over the past 3 days. So if that's information, if that's something that you would like to take advantage of, here's the cart link, that kind of stuff. But you can also do the same thing for software. So let's say your challenge was, do X amount of things in X amount of days. And then the next thing is, hey, you learned all this stuff. We have a software that will help you do all of this stuff. So part of the planning to do these challenges also needs to be, where do you want them to ultimately go? And then backward plan, what are the things that would drive them there, and make your entire challenge about wants, needs, pain points, desires, aspirations, all that kind of stuff. And you have to very strategically build that so that the entire answer to all the problems that you're going to bring up or solutions you're going to give are going to be fundamentally corrected, fixed, adjusted, tweaked, maintained through your software, your course, your, whatever the thing is that you want to drive them to.
Yep, absolutely. And you mentioned software, that's a great example of it. Dan Schwartz, who owns Investor Foods, he is a member of Family Mastermind, and he launched this and was giving us all the data on this. This did really, really well for him in putting on new users and creating a community. And part of what he did too, and part of the fulfillment of that, was a Facebook group and a community there that came with that. That's another thing that I've seen discussed a lot, that we've used and that a lot of our members and a lot of my friends have used, are Facebook groups. And, it seems like some people really figure that out and do that really well, and some people don't do it very well at all. Let's talk a little bit about that, about Facebook groups and monetizing Facebook groups, what that model looks like, what you're seeing right now, as far as what's working out there in the Facebook groups, the paid model.
Yeah, so we have lots and lots and lots of these. Facebook groups are incredibly important into the ecosystem of selling online. And there's a couple of different reasons for that. One is Facebook hasn't said it openly, but I know for a fact that Facebook group advertising is coming soon. Facebook group advertising is something that's never been offered before, but that is going to be a big thing. So if you don't have a group right now, you need to either be acquiring one or building one or starting one or expanding the one that you have, or, getting those people re-engaged, because that's going to be massively important.
So pretty soon you're going to be able to put money behind it like you would a page.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. Which you can't do right now. And you're going to be able to target them too. So you're going to be able to, use that as an interest-based targeting, which I don't know when that's going to come out, but I definitely know that it will be.
Yeah, that could be huge, especially for people that have built a huge asset already organically, to be able to juice that now with actual budget. That could be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So there's really a couple of different ways to use a Facebook group, and very few people use all of them. But some of the most successful campaigns have been run out of pages that don't have faces to them. So There's some pros and cons to having your face on things. Let me give you an example, one that everybody's going to appreciate on this, that's listening to this. So
Be sensitive to the guru types out there that want their face on everything, Pastor, right? Because,
true.
some of these people want the face on everything.
So like in your case, Family Mastermind, your face is plastered all over Family Mastermind.
My bald head, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you ever tried to exit Family Mastermind, you would get locked into a 10-year contract that, you would never really exit it, even if somebody would pay you for that group. So in that particular case, it's really, really difficult for you to exit that property that you've built. Now, if you did one that was, around marketing agencies for the real estate industry, then if you could slowly phase your face out and somebody else's face in, or a group of faces, and then you wanted to exit, it'd be a whole lot easier for you to do so. Right. So we suggest that you have multiple properties that have the same core avatar, but some of them have your face on them and some of them don't. And the way that you can do that is to just be, vague as to who is talking. So for example, if you wanted to do one, and again, I'll just use real estate marketing because it's an easy one, or you could do real estate SaaS. We'll do that. Something that has to do with a real estate SaaS model. Those two things are interchangeable for what I'm talking about.
And most everybody knows this, but SaaS is software as a service, right? That's what that stands for.
Yep, exactly. So we could talk about software, or we could talk about it really doesn't matter. But the point is, I'll use software as a service. You have some kind of software that does something that helps real estate investors or real estate investment, portfolio people, or it doesn't matter, just something around that space. So what you can do is you can do a Facebook page that is organically has the name of exactly what you're going to talk about. Now, you want that for search purposes. What are the highest searched things? And you hopefully people find those. And then if they have an interest in real estate, Facebook's going to serve it as hey, you might like this page. Or you can get yourself in a position where somebody goes to, some big real estate page, and then you get served up as people that like this page also like this page, right? And that's an easy way for you to get valuable people that could be interested in your SaaS service. And then what you do is you don't talk about your service at all. You just start talking about how to automate their business or how other people are using other tools. You don't talk about your tools at all. You just talk about using tools, and you can talk about all kinds of things in that area. And then from there, the people that like the page, you serve them an only ads for your software. So what happens is only the people that interact with the page get served the ad. They wouldn't be on the page if they didn't have a use for your service or for your software. And it's not when people see the page, it's not listed as a post that they have anything to do with the software, but only through ads, which we call dark posts. Only through ads do they actually see that there's a software model that you have. And that has been astronomically phenomenal in many, many different ways.
That's awesome.
I'll give you another example. Let's say you had something that people would joke about. Like let's say there's fix and flip people out there, and they don't know what to really talk about. But there's all kinds of memes about fix and flip, both to the good and to the bad.
Sure.
Well, you could do a fix and flip page that just is all the funny stuff that happens with fix and flip. But anybody that's watching that probably only gets the inside jokes if they're in the fix and flip business.
If they're
And
really
that
in the business, you don't get it if you're not kind of in the business.
exactly.
Yeah.
So then now you have 10,000 people that are going to that page and they're funny. So they interact and they comment and they whatever. And then you serve an ad that is, oh, by the way, if you want to fix and flip at a higher level, this is the course you need to have.
Yeah. So you're not initially feeding them the information that
Right.
is the crucial information you want them to have. You're bringing them together on information or entertainment in this case, right? Entertainment that would
Yep.
fit that type of person, that key avatar that you're looking for. I love it,
Yep.
right? Because
And
I've looked at that, like pictures of terrible houses and like memes of hoarder houses and stuff like that.
right.
Only real flippers that have gone into houses that disgusting, like I did, especially in the early days of my real estate investing business. Only real house flippers love that stuff, right? Or we'll eat it up.
Exactly.
We'll eat it up over and over again, right? So yeah.
And there's a trend. You don't even realize the trend between the two questions that you asked me. One was about the challenges, and one is about the Facebook group. Those things are very similar, even though most people won't draw the correlation. The similarity between those is basically twofold. You have the free Facebook groups and the free challenges, and you have the paid Facebook groups and the paid challenges. And what should be the current theme is that both of them should be 2 to 3 steps away from where you want them to actually go. When you're doing the challenge, you're a step away or 2 steps away. Go through the challenge and then learn about this other thing that's going to be the answer to all your problems. Or go to the page in the monetizing Facebook, go to the page or the group for the memes or the funny stuff, and then learn about this other thing. So they're both very similar, even though people don't draw that distinction. Almost every single marketing tool that we have right now that works, that's really driving, we're 1 to 2 steps away. Even if we're running an ad, where awareness, the first ad goes out and just says, something not specific to the group or to the thing that we're selling. So it's value, ask, right? High awareness, ask them to buy something. And that is so beneficial, because you need to kind of build that relationship in a one-dimensional form. And that is really hard to do for a lot of people. Is when you and I have a conversation in real life, it's interactive. I can question you. I can ask you certain questions that qualify you to get to the next level. When you're on video and you're running an ad, you don't have that ability. Right. So what you have to do is you have to forecast all the things that people are going to ask questions about, and try to hit all those top things. You don't have to hit everyone, but you got to hit a majority of them so that you answer most of the questions before your pitch. And that's the same thing that you're doing on ads. It's the same thing you're doing in Facebook groups. It's the same thing that you're doing in challenges. That is such an integral part of building and designing successful campaigns around these.
Yep, absolutely. And you need to be doing a combination of all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
working
for
together
sure.
to kind of build that critical awareness mass, so to speak.
That's another good one. I want to hit on the difference between paid challenges and free challenges, and paid Facebook groups and non-paid. So the thing that we have really come to understand, probably more in the last 90 days than ever has been shown through data, is you're going to get a lot more people to come to a free challenge, or you're going to get a lot more people to sign up for a free challenge. You're going to get a lot more people to opt into a free Facebook group. But what we have learned is that the value of that group or of that challenge is astronomically lower than the people to sign up. And what we found is when people pay money, even if it's $4.99, $7.99, $9.99, $49, it doesn't matter. As long as they paid something on their credit card, their show up rate is astronomically higher than anything free. In a group, they will interact at a far greater pace if they physically put in the money. And I think we can assume we've we've proven it with numbers, but we can assume that when they have some skin in the game, they're willing to at least go check it out. So you have to run both is the moral of the story. You have to run both because you want to get the freebies, the tire kickers, if you will. You want to get the freebies in your pixel. You need to be able to get them into your tracking so that you can send those other videos and those other things to build your worth and value to them, and then get them in later on. But the free does have some value, especially if you can collect the email address as part of the free sign up. That is imperative. But the ones that will actually have the most value at lower volume are the ones that are paid. So run both as part of your overall strategy for groups and for challenges.
Yep. Some leads turn into buyers. Some leads are simply data, right? That helps you find more of the actual buyers, right? So I love that. And you said something earlier, and I think this is a good way, something good for us to talk about here too. You said something earlier about creating a brand. You were saying in relation to Facebook groups, but creating a brand without your face on it because, and one of the reasons was if you go to sell it later, then, you don't have to be attached to it. Don't have your face be the value on it. Right. So let's talk about that. Cause you and I have had a lot of discussions about that. You and I are working on some cool things together in the world of business development. Talk about scaling up for exit because you own a lot of companies. You've exited a lot of companies. Talk about how you build a company the right way and specifically what you're doing to increase the value in your companies before you go to exit.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what I do for a living. And depending on what stage people saw me on or what, podcast or whatever, to some people, I'm the Facebook guy, and to other people, I'm the SEO guy, and to other people, I'm the business development guy, and to other people, I'm the exit guy. But this is what I'll tell you. Facebook and SEO and, websites and all the personal brand building and PR and all that kind of stuff are just tools that we use. And I feel like every business owner should be using in their business, but they're just tools. It's like, you don't call the carpenter the hammer guy, right? He's the carpenter. He's making a masterpiece. And hopefully
I have always called him the hammer guy. I'll start calling him the carpenter guy. I thought that was what he was called.
So I think every business owner, if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, as far as like eventually trying to exit, or you're creating a legacy business that you're going to pass on to your kids. I don't think that anybody really sets out and says, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to build this business, and in 10 years, I'm going to retire and it's just going to die. Nobody does that, right? Everybody thinks about it kind of last minute to get their company ready for sale. Now, you really have to be short-sighted to not think that one day you're either going to sell your business, you're going to pass it on, or you're going to turn it into some kind of nest egg money thing that you get to, live off the rest of your life if you're retiring. Or maybe you're moving on from it so you can buy something bigger, and that's perfectly fine too. But one of the things that we do to really increase the EBITDA, or the total value that we can sell a company from, and typically when you're selling a company, you're going to get a multiple of whatever the EBITDA is, and that is a whole nother thing. We can talk about that on another one, but that's the basic gist of it. So if you can increase that EBITDA, and there's neat little things that you can do, that is what we kind of specialize in. I want to take a business, and let's say I get in for the business for, I don't know, just for the sake of round numbers, I want to get in for $100,000, and in a year I want to sell it for $1 million. Well, the quickest things that we can do are get great online properties, get people to actually interact with our content. So you got a whole content game you got to play. Then if you can get other properties online, whether it's, social media, podcasts, websites, all those things that are the digital footprint of the business, not of you as a person, but of the business. Can you be some of those things and you use your personality and your face as an asset of the business? Sure, but don't make it the majority. Because if you do that and you name your business like after your last name, the chances of you actually selling the business are very, very, very slim. Because they got to go through a whole rebranding thing and all that kind of stuff. And then what you can also do is start thinking about a business Bible of how your business operates. Now, I have no affiliation to this company whatsoever. This is not an upsell. This is not a hidden Easter egg for me to make money off the back end of this. But I use a software called Notion. And Notion is a very easy way for you, and you could do this in Google Drive if you wanted to. You could do it any way you want, but we use Notion because what it basically does is the who, what, when, where, why, how of every single thing that happens in the business. So I'll use my coffee company, for example, and in there, it's what is the brand guide for my business. These are all the logos. These are all the different ways that you can use the font. These are all the different ways that we talk to our clients front facing. And on the website, this is the exact size of font that we use. And you don't have to do this yourself. You can hire, a VA or somebody else to do this for you. But all they're doing is systematically going through every piece of the business. This is how we use Facebook. This is how we use the page. This is how we use the group. This is the entryway into Coffee Club. This is where we manufacture. This is the bags we use. This is how much it costs. And we keep a running journal of that. So you can see that when we were doing 100 bags, it cost us, $4 a bag. But now that we're doing 100,000, it costs us 42 cents. And you leave a trail of all those things and the dates that you got those individual manufacturer deals done so that they can say, oh, well, we haven't changed this for 6 months. Let's go back and renegotiate because we increased the price of this. You could do the same thing with a SaaS company. This is, these are all the things that we do. These are the annual reports that we do. These are the weekly reports that we do. And when you do those kinds of things, what happens is, and although it's painful to get started, I assure you that if you have a 10-year-old business, it's even more painful to do. But when you can start now and have those things built over the next year or 18 months or 3 years, whenever you want to design your exit, that value of that thing is incredible. So we did it for a company that it never had one of these, 7-year-old business. We went in, we did this model, this exact thing, and added $4 million to the overall price of the business. Well, this is the crazy thing. The business was only worth $1 million to begin with. So we got a $5 million business, and then we sold that for a multiple. So we went from, sake of round numbers, not exact, but we went from, selling the thing at 3 million to selling it at 15 because we got 4 million on just writing down the systems, the processes, the brand guide, like all that stuff. So if you haven't done that in your business right now, start now and start keeping a running tally and use it as a living document too. Don't put it in a place where it's going to get jumbled up with everything else. Put it in one specific place that you can always refer to. Again, that's why I use Notion. It's not jumbled in with all the rest of our documents. It's not internal documents. It's backed up 8 ways to Sunday. If something happens to, our Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever, no worry. It's held somewhere else that's duplicated time and time and time again. So I don't believe that people understand how important that is, but just think about it from the reverse of that. If you were going to level up your business by purchasing another business and they had a full brand Bible that was 700 pages of everything you need to know about that business, and if you ever had a problem, you literally just flip to that page and you're like, that's exactly what I need to do. Or that's exactly the manufacturer or the web guy or the software or the whatever that we use. That is so valuable. It helps them also bring on a new team and say, this is your section. Go figure this piece out. And they can just build and grow and scale the business, even after you walk out, and you never have to answer any questions. It's not that business that keeps coming back to haunt you because they always have questions. It's refer to page 74, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I think a lot of businesses, even good businesses and a lot of entrepreneurs, standardize certain systems and procedures for the purpose of, hey, if I lose this employee, I don't want to have to retrain the next one. So at least we've got these systems and processes in place. But they don't use it and think of it as an evaluation builder.
Yeah.
They don't think about it as that. And I think that's kind of the next level, right? It's the level that it's not just about making it easier when replacing people, or it's about the data, which is the next step up. And then above that, it's about literally increasing the value of your business because of what you can bring and the system of standardization that you brought to be able to hand somebody, that in a box.
Here's another ninja tip. So we don't actually tell anybody when we have an initial offer out, we don't tell them that we have that. And then when they come back to renegotiate, and as they always do, we bring that and we say, actually, we should probably charge you a little more because we have this whole thing. And it's because they go through their whole due diligence to I do the same thing. When I'm buying a business, I go through due diligence and I'm trying to get the business for the cheapest, right? They're trying to expand the business and get it the most. So if I flip chairs and now I'm selling a business, I'm trying to get the most value. So we use it as a closing technique to actually stay firm on our price, which is so cool because they've gone through all their due diligence. They probably had attorneys and CPAs and all those people going through this. And one of the things that they always say is, as an attorney, CPA, CFO, all those guys, what they say is, how do you know you're going to be able to run this business after that person's gone? That's what they always say. So they plant that negative seed in the purchaser's mind. Mm-hmm. And then when you go back to the closing table and you're trying to, really finalize that deal, you say, oh, you didn't know? We have this whole brand Bible that just tells you every single nuance of everything you need to go. And right there on the spot, you get to close everybody's mouth about how they're going to run the business after you leave.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've given us a lot to chew on here. I'm thinking about, who all we have in this community and who's listening to these podcasts. And, we've got a lot of software owners. We definitely talked a lot about things that apply to them, right? We also have a lot of coaches, real estate coaches, some with big operations, some with small solo operations that are 100% dependent on their face and their personality, right? So definitely a lot to think about there. And that's why we need to talk about these things and think about it and think about business development the way that you've talked about it today. Is we need to see kind of where we've got some exposure, where some of our businesses aren't sellable. So, and maybe that's not the goal, but they're not transferable in any way. And that's an issue. And that's something we could address now. We've got a lot of people listening, a lot of young entrepreneurs too, in the software space that are creating amazing tools. I mean, you guys need to be taking notes right now on how you standardize things now so that when you've got 1 million users, you don't have some serious issues, right? Serious scalability issues there and growing pains that can cost you millions at that point. So this really speaks to both those groups, and it's been awesome. Patch, thanks for being on here, man. This has been great as always, and we're going to do this more, right? You're going to come back on the podcast, and we're going to kind of choose different subjects and just kind of chunk them out like we did today. So I love it, and thank you for telling us what's working right now, because that's really what it's about, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's about what we can implement and what we can use right now to help our people, to communicate with our tribes, to reach out and effectively communicate with the people that depend on us as leaders in our space. So, Patch, we appreciate that, man. Anything else you want to say before we sign off for the day?
I think just, I'm part of the crew. So, if you guys have questions, let's figure out what those questions are and help me be as much of a resource to the community as I possibly can be. So, hit up Matt and Emily and
and the Facebook group is the perfect place to do it, guys. So go to reiinfluencers.com. Patch is in there. He's a member of our community and is in there mixing it up with people all the time. You'll see the kind of the caliber of entrepreneurs that we have in there, and you'll see the type of discussions that we get into, some of the type of stuff like we talked about today. So go to reiinfluencers.com and join that club. And we will definitely be having Patch on for future episodes where we'll dig more into Facebook strategy, business scalability. I really want to talk to him about a lot of the new business apps that are coming out, especially in Facebook. Patch, this is pretty cool. I'm going to brag on you a little bit here. You get to try this stuff first. I don't know how you do what you do, but you get literally early access to a lot of the tools that Facebook comes out with because of the volume that you do, right? So you
it's
promised
just spending money, man. It's spending other
spending
people's money,
right?
you know?
Exactly. Well, you promised to keep us on the cutting edge, all that stuff in the future here. All right.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Well, guys, thank you for being here. Patch, thank you again for being here. Reach out to us. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear about and what you want to learn on this podcast. It is for us. It is so that we can be better at helping our people. This is it. Matt Andrews with Patch Baker signing off. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Hi there, Mr. Wonderful here, talking about one of my favorite sectors of the economy, real estate. I don't care, commercial real estate, residential real estate, multifamily, you name it. Now, I want to do a big shout out. Congratulations to the success of the Family Mastermind and the Family Reunion event. You brought together the top real estate influencers in the country and created a community of power players. Keep up the great work. I mean, one of the things that's interesting is if you're in an industry like real estate, you want to meet others that are successful as well. There's a certain concept called the hive concept where, sparrows group together when they do this to show each other that there's millions of them, that there's strength in numbers. Same idea here. I'm trying to use nature as an idea for why you want to get all the power players together. It's because they want to be together. They want to talk about their industry. They want to share ideas. It's a fantastic event. So Family Mastermind and the Family Reunion event were exactly that for real estate. Anyways, congratulations, guys, and keep up the good work. It's an industry that is never going to go away.